You're listening to Win Win, an entrepreneurial community with your host, Ben Wolf.
Welcome to the Win Win podcast. This is your host, as always, Ben Wolf. This is the official podcast of Wolf's Edge Integrators. You can find out more about that team at wolfsedgeintegrators.com. And I want to get into the topic today of how you can help your team find their purpose by seeing their contribution to what your business actually does for people. And so before we get into talking about that today, I want to get into introducing my guest on this topic, whose name is Brandon West. He is the founder and chief purpose officer at Phos Creative, which is a branding and marketing firm based out of Gainesville, Georgia. He's also a fellow sponsor with me with Wolf's Edge Integrators at the Second Gear Group, which is a nonprofit organization that serves and helps nonprofits and small businesses who have big missions. You can find out more about him at brandonmichaelwest.com. And also, you could look up Phos Creative, his company, if you need marketing and branding services. Welcome, Brandon. Good to have you.
Benjamin, so good to be with you. Excited. This is the one time that I've ever been introduced where the fact that there are the same city names in multiple states has been an issue. There's like at least 3 Gainesvilles in the United States. We are not the one in Georgia. We're the one in Florida with the University of Florida Gators.
Okay, I said Florida, right?
No, you said Georgia, but that's just
I
it,
said
man.
Georgia?
That's just it. There's like
I
3 or
wrote
4
down
of them.
Florida. Well, my notes say Florida. Did I seriously say Georgia?
You did, but
Are you
again,
messing with me?
There's like 3 to 5 of them.
Oh my gosh. All right. I apologize. Gainesville, Florida. I wrote Florida. I didn't even know there was a Gainesville, Georgia. Why on God's green earth would I say Gainesville, Georgia? All right. That's a little bit of a tangent. I'm sorry for everybody that we had to put you through that. I met somebody last night from Westchester, Pennsylvania. It's like most people, I didn't even know there was a Westchester, Pennsylvania. I know Westchester, New York. It's a county in New York, like not that far from me.
Exactly.
It's not as bad as Springfield, right? Where there's like 23 Springfields in America. Yep. So, all right, this is definitely not what we're here to talk about. Let me ask you this, Brandon. Back on track. Help keep us back on track. Give us a quick 2-minute background, 2-minute context into sort of like your background, where you came from, and sort of what brings us together up to the point of the topic we're talking about today.
Yeah, the topic at hand today is on purpose. It's so interesting. I feel like most of my life has been a journey trying to understand really what purpose is. I think all of us want there to be meaning and purpose, not just in the work that we do, but in the lives that we lead. And what I've been more and more convinced over my tenure at Phos, we're about to celebrate 11 years in just a couple weeks here. The thing that I've been most convinced of is that work is actually this really cool place where leaders who are willing to do the hard work of assessing purpose, packaging purpose, and then putting that into their team can actually find a ton of purpose themselves in helping the people who work for them find purpose in their own lives. So the marketplace, business, leadership is this really cool place where those two things have collided for me. And we've created a really interesting business where it's not just like business for business sake, it's business for a greater purpose. And that's been really fun to see our team thrive and flourish in the middle of that pursuit as well.
Well, tell me a story. Tell me something like what's happened that sort of brought this issue out to you. That people finding purpose through their work or seeing the purpose, seeing the value of their contribution. Like what's something or a couple things that have happened that sort of, I don't know, brought into sharp contrast and sharp relief, like why that's so important.
Yeah. Daniel Pink describes purpose in 2 different ways. He calls it lowercase p purpose and uppercase p purpose. Lowercase p purpose is that people on your team understand that when they bang on a keyboard, someone has helped somewhere. They understand that the work that they're doing helps someone for some reason. Uppercase p purpose is understanding that the work that they're doing actually has this greater purpose behind it, that there's something changing in the world, that there's brokenness that is healing. I think one of the most tangent stories I can remember, potent stories that I can remember of someone understanding at least lowercase p purpose on the team was a moment when one of our interns was shown some results for one of the clients that they were serving. So as a digital marketing agency, we're doing inbound marketing and content generation and social media and things like that. We came to this intern and we said, hey, here's some cool, like we want to teach you Google Analytics. Check out some of these cool things. You actually wrote this blog article a couple months ago. Here's the results. Here's how many people have seen it. Here's how many eyeballs have been on it. Here's how many visitors come to it. Here's how many people have engaged with it. Here's how many leads it's produced. And I just remember that intern going, I had no idea that the work that I was doing was producing those sort of results. And I turned to my executive team at that moment and I said, guys, never again. Never again will there be a moment where somebody on our team does not understand the impact that they have. You and I are both EOS fanboys. One of the books that Gino Wickman wrote, the EOS Life, talks about 5 things that people need. They need to do work that they love with people that they love, knowing that it makes a big impact, compensated appropriately, time for other passions. And that one in the middle there, making a big impact. They understand that my work makes an impact. Lowercase p purpose, it's changing someone's life. And uppercase p purpose, it's actually changing the world. Both of those are critical for us at Phos.
Right. Well, it's such a great point about like people, even just with a lowercase p, people feeling like they're just checking off items on a checklist, but it doesn't, like, it's just looking down at the work under their nose, checking off items on a checklist, no consciousness of any impact beyond that. Not exactly relevant, but it makes me think of, for some reason, this story that is told by this Rabbi Dr. Abraham Twersky, who's a psychiatrist and a rabbi, and he tells a story that he was in a restaurant one time, and that he was in a and he was listening to a family next to him, and their little boy gives his order, "I want a hot dog," and then the mother says afterwards, "Oh no, he'll have whatever it was, a salad. I don't know, whatever it was, some adult food, and orders something different for him." And then a few minutes later, the waiter comes over and brings the boy a hot dog, and he looks up in wonder and says, "Mom, he thinks I'm real." And it just like brings I don't know, it's sort of different, but it makes me think of this point that like we feel like we're just typing away on a keyboard, like we're just checking off items on a checklist, or our team members feel like they're just checking off items on a checklist. But no, like you're real. Like, these things that you're doing, they have a real world impact.
They do. They do. Well, I mean, only in the hands of, again, a leader that's willing to lead that way, because it's too easy to
Right.
just run business for business sake. And our big statement that we make at Phos is that we don't want ourselves, we don't want any business to waste their business on business. Like that there can be a greater purpose behind that. Our mission at Phos is really part of our why, part of our purpose. Our mission is to cultivate true flourishing in people and in organizations while reflecting the love of Jesus to the world. Our vision is to
Can you
launch,
say that? I'm sorry, Brandon, can
yeah,
you say that one more time?
yep, to cultivate true flourishing in people and in organizations while reflecting the love of Jesus to the world. Our
Okay.
vision, our vision, what we're trying to do is to launch 30 care centers around the world that care for women and children impacted by extreme poverty and sex trafficking. And
Mm,
most of the world is like, what does that have to do with digital marketing?
okay.
And the truth is nothing, right? And everything at the same time. We give away 50% of our profits to launch these care centers. We just launched our 12th care center in Mexico and Peru. Those care centers care for over 2,000 children impacted by extreme poverty or sex trafficking. And my team gets to be a part of that. My team gets to see that. My team gets to understand that it's like that cat gif, with like the cat like banging on the keyboard. And I'm like, when that happens, when we do that, this is actually what's happening behind the scenes. And it really has to do with that keyword in the middle of our mission statement, while. It's us confessing that there is something that can happen at the same time as. That's what while means, right? I'm going to do this while I'm doing this. It's the multitasker. It's like I'm doing this and this at the same time. In business, we say we're doing business and we're doing mission, we're doing ministry, we're doing care and love around the world for people at the same time as doing the work that we do on a daily basis.
So paint me a picture. What is happening when people don't feel connected? Leaders don't find a way to show lowercase p or uppercase p that is created by their team's work. What happens when they don't have either the headspace or just don't take the time, or they're just so underwater? Like, it's not necessarily blame, but like they don't, for whatever reason, don't put intentional effort into helping show people the purpose behind their work, behind their contribution. What happens when people don't have time or make time for that?
Yeah. I think we die on the inside. That's what happens. We die on the
Are you
inside.
referring to the team or like the leader who's
Both.
not? Okay.
Both. Like we say, like work's a grind. Okay. You've heard before, well, the older generation, they'll say, well, I've never worked a day in my life because I've always done things that I love doing. Okay. How do we replicate that in the lives of other people? When I started my business, I was told that there were two options for starting my company. One, I could create a lifestyle business where you're trying to gain as much recurring revenue as possible so you can go out, fish, play pickleball all day long, whatever you want to do. The second option was that I could build an equity business. Well, there it is. Mac throwing up some
These
balloons there.
Zoom
Thank you.
things. Yeah.
The second option was that I could build an equity company. I could try and grow Phos's EBITDA as high as possible so that one day I could have some huge exit, sell out the company and walk away. And I'm just telling you, like on the hardest days of leadership, when leadership is hard, when life is challenging, it's not enough for me to just look out and say pickleball and profit is enough for today. That's not good enough. And I can die inside when I don't realize like there's something else going on. There's that while happening behind the scenes that when I go in and I do this work and I lead well and I choose faithfulness, even when I don't feel like it, that people's lives are changed inside my company and outside of it. And I think the same thing happens with our people as well. They get into the grind and it's just too easy, like you said, to have long checklists and to-dos, and you're just like, I ain't nobody got time for this, right? I I I use the analogy a lot of like if you've ever gone to like a big river and you've taken like a clear glass and you scoop water out of it. That water is like so brown, it's just it's gross. Ugh. You set it down for an hour. All of a sudden the dense things rise to the top, of the rise the thing, other things rise to the bottom, and in between you just have this beautiful clear glass of water. The people who don't take time to assess purpose and lead from this place are each of us. We're the shaken up bottle of water from the
Mhm.
river. And what we need to do is set that down for a moment. Set that down for a moment. Let the sediment settle and let us see with clarity, maybe for the first time in months, years, maybe for the first time ever in our business, that there is a greater purpose, that there's something worth working for. It takes work to mine for purpose. It takes work and intentionality to lead from purpose. It takes delegation and leadership to raise up other people on your team who can care for the things that give you margin to invest in purpose. Like all of those things are critical. We give up 50% of our profit. Like I have to sacrifice gains to invest in. All of these things cost, and yet they're a cost worth taking because it's an outcome worth pursuing.
Well, let's talk about those activities or those things that owners, leaders can be doing to bring out that purpose, to show people purpose, to invest in purpose, so that people can see that in their contribution. We know what are one, two, three main things that people listening or to or watching this can do in their business to bring out and show purpose for their people so that they can see that from their contributions.
Yeah, so good. Lowercase p purpose is an easy place to start. Lowercase p purpose is an easy place to start. Connecting the work that your people do to a change, an outcome, a benefit, an influence that your work has. One of the games that we've played at Phos, in the past is as a digital marketing agency, we're helping small and mid-sized businesses to grow trust and awareness online. Those are the two things we do. Help organizations to build trust and grow awareness online. When we do that, though, our clients' mission statements are the things that we're actually supporting. We're supporting their mission in the marketplace. We're helping them accomplish their why. And so I'll ask people like a game in order to assess lowercase p purpose. I'll ask them like, hey, recently with the work that we did, we helped to grow intimacy in someone's marriage. Which client did we do that through? And then you'll see these people start guessing. Was it this client? Is it this client? Is this client? I'm like, oh yeah, it's that one right there. It's the jewelry company that we serve recently, and the wedding rings that we got to sell for people. Hey, we just helped a family's lifelong dream come true. Who do we do that through? Oh, this company, yep, that one right there. The mortgage company that we worked with. We're helping people's dreams come true for their families and ownership and lifelong legacies of what, like, just helping your team see, maybe through a game, maybe through a story, maybe through multiple stories, regular storytelling.
That quiz idea. That's funny.
Just like, hey, take the why, take the end result of what you're doing for your client, and then work it backwards. Begin with the end in mind and help your team see that the work that they're doing to fill out that audit, to complete that research, to bang out that press release article, to do another loan through the bank is all leading to these really cool things at the end. That's the lowercase p purpose. On the uppercase p purpose side, I'm going to be honest. For leaders that want to pursue purpose, we have to actually just take very small, brave steps, knowing that this is a long journey towards purpose and meaning. When I started my company, my mission statement was so dumb. It was so dumb. The mission statement of my company when I started it was to make the internet a better place by helping companies to look good and get found online. That was our first ever mission statement. After 6 months of that, I was like, man, if somebody wrote on my tombstone, he helped companies to look good and get found online, you could just like take a red spray paint can and just write like life wasted on top of it. Like that is not a purpose worth working for. But that was the first thing I had. And honestly, it was good for like 6 months. Like it helped us, it provided fuel until I realized there's got to be something better. And we've had 4, maybe 5 mission statements now in 11 years. Like it's us just refining down and down. No, here's our why. Here's our why. Here's what we're actually about. Here's why we do this. Getting more and more acutely tied to that. The last mission statement that we had was to be a place that our team never wants to leave, clients can't do without, and the world is better for. And I was like, that's great. That guided us for years and years and years. But I realized that even that first part of being a place team members never want to leave, for me, came from a place of fear. Like, why do we not want to be a place that team members want to leave? Because we want them to flourish. Oh, well, our mission statement isn't just chasing being a place people don't want to leave. It's actually chasing this positive thing of being a place where people and organizations truly flourish while reflecting the love of Jesus to the world. That's our current mission statement. It's been this journey towards purpose. And I would just ask at the end of the day, why do you do this? What is the thing that keeps you going? When we settled on our vision statement to serve women and children in extreme poverty and sex trafficking, that came from this lifelong pursuit of us looking back and going, hey, where have we had impact in the past? Where have we invested in our community locally and globally? And where do we want to maybe walk back into those fields where we've sown seed and reaped fruit and go back and re-sow, replant, and reharvest fruit from? That journey's been a really fun one with my leadership team and caused a lot of unity. And so I might just ask, hey, for you who have invested in local and global communities in the past, where have you done that and reaped fruit? And maybe you could walk back in and you say, no, actually, that wasn't just about a sponsorship. That wasn't just about getting our logo on the wall of a gymnasium. It was because we're actually really passionate about families, children, environment, like whatever your passion is. I love that there's such diversity in the marketplace on this. And when leaders would just raise their hand and say, I think this is what I'm passionate about, I'm going to chase that really hard. So lowercase p purpose, uppercase p purpose, maybe some tools that might help to seek those out.
Well, a couple of other things. When it comes to, I don't know if you've ever, like, if you're ever talking about this topic with other people, um, I know I've had this with clients before where there's sort of a pushback when it comes to anything beyond the day to day. And that comes from, you know, I just like working with the people. I like the people we work with. We've got a good culture. People care about each other. I think it's just about liking the people you're working with. And the nobody wants to, nobody wants to like have all this like fluffy stuff thrown on top of it. They just want to like, you know, do work that they don't mind that much, or basically like, and just like the people they're working with. They got a good manager, like they're, that's all anybody needs. I don't know, have you ever heard people say that? What do you like, what comes up for you when you hear
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, I would argue that the vast majority of people who say that are probably older leaders from older generations who are not leading younger generations of leaders in their company. They don't understand the value of purpose in millennials, Gen Z, Gen Alpha. Like there's a purpose component there that makes us an attractive company. But I would also just say, is it worth it? Like, is your leadership in that context, is it worth it?
Like an important enough thing. I just want people, my purpose is just to have people have a decent place to work and not be around jerks.
Yeah, I
Is
mean,
that enough?
who doesn't? Who doesn't? It's like, hey, good place to start. Well done. What that person's actually revealing is that their purpose is probably people, and they just don't know how to articulate it. The reason
Mm-hmm.
why they want to run that kind of environment is because they care about the people working for them.
Mm-hmm.
Articulate that purpose, put some
Right.
metrics behind it, create a scorecard that's less about profit, more about people, less about numbers, and more about mission and ministry and care and love and people being seen and known and cared for on a team. Like those things will create and fuel the culture that you desire. People, I think without a deeper sense of purpose, that impact component from the EOS life, they'll only last so long in that context until they realize I don't actually like the people on my team as much as I thought, and my work's getting boring, so I'm out. Like that'll only last you so long, and you as a leader as well.
Well, it's an interesting point you're making about also about how it's a legitimate purpose to be more internal focused of, my purpose is the life I am enabling and creating for my team. They're the people I care about. And, you talk about like a Nordstrom that's like famous for that, of just like, there, or not L'Oreal. It's the one with where they do home women do home makeup sales. I forgot what it's called.
Mary Kay.
Mary Kay, right? They're about the life they're creating for their team, not about the life or impact they're making on their customers. I mean, that's obviously something too, but like the I could one final question just on this rabbit hole. And I've struggled with this myself because I know for me, a lot of my main motivation is more about the team that I'm building, and and enabling them to fulfill, to make an impact on the world with our clients. So they're here to make an impact on the world with our clients. But I'm here on the life that I can create for them through my firm, Wolf's Edge Integrators. And and part of the way we do that is by facilitating a way for them to make a huge impact on small and mid-sized businesses and thousands of lives, thousands of mortgages, thousands of people through the businesses that they improve and grow.
Yeah,
Um,
that's so
but
good.
for me, it's more like an internally focused purpose.
So what we've done
So
in order to
how does
create
that like, but if I tell them like, hey, we're like Nordstrom, we're like Mary Kay, we're it's about the life we create for you. They're like, yeah, well, I'm not here for that selfish purpose of the life I create for me. I'm here for what I'm doing for my clients.
yes, yes.
What do
And
you say? What do you say about that?
I think that's where mission and vision and niche and focus, like in the EOS ecosystem, like have a lot to say to us. But I will say the way that we've organized this at Phos, it's called our care matrix. Our care matrix. There's 5 rows in this care matrix, and they define the 5 groups of people that we're trying to target here at Phos for care, love, and ministry. Those 5 groups are our team. It starts there. I can't love well women and children in extreme poverty. And my team's like, what about me? Like purpose doesn't work in those environments. So
Mhm.
it starts with our team, but then we actually reach out to our team members' families. We're trying to care for our team members' families, their spouse, their kids. We're sending them gifts and letters and care packages and caring for them on each of these three levels. I'll go over in a minute. So team, their families, our clients, they're right there as well. Our clients have to be a part of this, and our team's bought in to care for those clients. Our vendors, like our contractors, suppliers, and then finally our local and global community. Those 5 areas are the people that we're targeting, and then 3 columns of how we're caring for them physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And those 15 cells in this care matrix become what we call our strategic plan for ministry. These are the 5 groups we're caring for in these 3 ways. And we get to go, look, here's how we're caring for you. Here's how we're caring for families. You come, step in. Here's how we're caring for our clients, vendor suppliers, local and global community. We developed a care team at Phos. They meet on a monthly basis, and they have a whole level 10 meeting from EOS where they walk through a scorecard and metrics and IDS issues and come up with solutions for problems at Phos for caring for each of those people groups, and then
It's like a
invite people
voluntary
into.
committee or group within the company. It's like, hey, I want to be
Yep,
involved in ensuring that we're coming up with concrete ways that we're making sure that we're doing concrete things to fulfill our purpose in each of these areas.
exactly. Voluntary. The mission of the care team is not to care, but to create a culture of care, love, and ministry at Phos. And so they're actually this influence that's trying to infect the whole organization with this culture of care, love, and ministry. We do profit sharing at Phos. Everybody has their own scorecard metrics where they fill out to check off what they've done the past month to share in our profit. Some of those scorecard metrics are completely care, love, and ministry focused. It's like I sent a client a random act of kindness this month. You actually score more profit at Phos for doing that.
Mhm.
We're trying to incentivize care, love, and ministry at Phos through the way that we've operationalized purpose inside of the company.
Very cool. All right. So operationalizing it, making sure people see impact on clients through the work that they do, connecting to a greater purpose. I like the operationalizing part of it. I know we got to it at the very end, but ensuring that it's not just sort of like something we just may remember to do sometimes,
Mhm.
but it's but it becomes concrete. It becomes committed. You talk about
Yeah.
donating 50% of profit, and then I also love what you said at the end about having the team members be able to influence
Yeah.
how that money is directed,
Yeah.
so
One
that
one
they
last thing here.
yeah.
Of course you would love operationalize because you're an integrator. Let me share this. Like operationalizing, that's the key. Because the owner all day long could be like, "Oh, the purpose is great." And people are like, whatever. How do you operationalize it? How do you put it into the core aspects of the business? In our front lobby, when you walk into our studio in Gainesville, Florida, you will see a 10-foot
Not wrong.
wide, 4-foot high light board in the middle. And
Hmm.
there's 267 light bulb sockets inside of it. And every time there's a mission moment that happens at Phos, we gather in the lobby, and the person most closely attached to that mission moment, I invite them to the front. I tell the story of what happened. They walk to the board, they turn on a light bulb, sign a journal underneath, notating the number of the bulb, the date, and what the mission moment was. And we clap and we shout and we celebrate because in your business, what you celebrate, you will see repeated. You want to
Right.
operationalize purpose, then start to celebrate it. Put it in front of your team, tell the stories, create systems where your purpose becomes part of common language and vernacular and practice at your company, and not just something that you've written in a strategic plan 12 years ago that's sitting on your desk at home that if you ask people what your mission statement was, they wouldn't have any idea. That's
Right.
not purpose. That's not purpose operationalized.
Very much appreciate it. Everybody else, brandonmichaelwest.com. Thank you for making the time to have this conversation and, talk about operationalizing and practical, concrete ways we can connect a purpose and impact to our people so that they can see that from their contributions to the company. Again, brandonmichaelwest.com. Truly appreciate you making the time. Thank you.
Thanks, Ben. A pleasure.
Thank you. And everybody else, we'll see you on the other side.
You're listening to Win Win, an entrepreneurial community with your host, Ben Wolf.